Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Enigmatica 6 Expert. So we're picking back up basically right after the last episode because I want to go ahead and get underway with what we're going to be working on. And then in a little bit, I'll cut and I'll do some building and stuff like that. But I kind of want to get our bees up and running. Alright, so what we're going to do, let's take a look here. We do have this, I'm going to go ahead and knock that out. We can get the manual centrifuge. We'll get that in just a moment. I talked about this a bit back. Actually, this is insanely cheap. Because originally we were going to use this early game to make our first backpack, which we still need to upgrade, but we're going to be doing something for storage pretty soon anyways. So there we go. We got our manual centrifuge. And we'll just go ahead and set this up over here. Now, at this point, before we push on, because in order for us to... I wonder what's in this. Skeleton bees and honeycombs. And what do we get? Bee jars and honey cookies. Okay, to get our tier 1 hive upgrade, this is going to be gold powder and grass. Let's just pop out and grab ourselves a bit of grass. And then let's continue on over to the village. Okay, now we had an apiary villager around here. Oh, and I should have brought the villager hat. Because we did get one of those. Yeah, I'm going to pop over and get the villager hat too. And we'll go ahead and just throw that on. Probably keep that in the decorative slot there. Alright, so let's see if we can find the apiarist. Though, what's it take to make the villager, the trading post, I think? Oh, that's super cheap. Okay, yeah, let me make that real quick. Because that way, maybe we won't have to look for them so hard. Alright, so let's go ahead and get ourselves a trading post. Put this down right here. What do we got? Not much in this area. Which usually I don't go this method, but we need a bit of honeycomb, and I seem to remember him having a few trades that might be of use to us. The only thing is I'm not finding him. Here he is. You, sir, you have bee, forest bee, and icy bee. Okay. That is perfect. Let me go ahead. I want the icy bee. We'll give him just a minute to level up. No, don't go outside. It's like the middle of the night. Okay, this time he's got a beeper. Let's go ahead and take the beeper, because I only have one of those at the moment. And beyond that, I guess I'm just going to buy beeswax blocks. Oxalis. You are immune to bad omen and unluck. Okay. What do we got here? Sandy and icy. Yeah, I'm running out of emeralds. And you're not selling me any of the stuff that I want. Okay, well that's fine. So instead, what we're going to do... yeah, we can do this. So instead, we're going to be going with a slightly more manual method. Let's go ahead and get ourselves... not really manual, but... we're going to go ahead and get ourselves a hovering hourglass. Let's get some sand. Let's go 20 sand. And then let's go ahead... and we're going to get ourselves a carbuncle. Then let's go ahead and pop over to here. I'm going to pull up a couple of these mumbies for now. And on top of the dispenser, this is just going to be very, very temporary. We're going to be changing it out this episode. But we're going to go ahead and put a hovering hourglass on top of our dispenser. And so then basically every 20 seconds it will attempt to shear it. And here we go. Yeah, just a little bit of a lag spike there. So we're going to get some dusty mumbies. I could set up all of these. I'm probably just going to set up the one, to be honest. Okay, and we've got 50 dusty mumbies at the moment. Well, let me go ahead. I'm going to put a chest in. We'll have the chest just sitting... say right here, and we'll go ahead and drop our carbuncle, and we're going to say that you are going to store your items inside that chest. And then every time that this, because this is chunk loaded here, every time that this harvests, you know, once the honey builds up, every time that harvests, it's going to spew them out, and then the carbuncle can pick them up. And I might, yeah, just to speed this up, let me make a couple more dispensers. And then we're just going to run this out. And we're going to run that out. And so all of this is going to work on kind of the same timer. Let me go ahead and get quite a few pairs of shears. And of course, these shears will only take durability damage when they actually do shear something. And then we're just going to go ahead and run out redstone like that. And there we go. Honeycombs everywhere. And then the carbuncle can just grab all those and dump them in the chest for us. Just temporarily. Well, let me grab those. We've got 58 of those, 12 regular. And then let's go ahead and make ourselves a tier 1 hive upgrade. So there's that. And we're going to get some honeycombs. Sounds good. Oh, we get honeycomb blocks here. The tier 2 is just going to be beeswax and honeycombs. So let's go ahead. Let's just break down, maybe not all of it. Let's just break down that. May not actually need as many as I was thinking. For some reason, I was thinking this was a little bit more expensive. I looked at it the other day, but I'd forgotten. Then we're going to get some honeycomb blocks from that. The tier 3 is beeswax blocks and honeycomb blocks. And we're going to get some honey blocks from that. Yeah, they're basically just giving us everything for our first one, you know. And then we're going to go ahead and get our tier 4 hive upgrade. So we actually don't even need the centrifuge. Oh my gosh, my inventory is just filling up with stuff. Okay, and now to get our tier 1 apiary, this is just going to be honey blocks and honeycomb blocks. Okay, now the tier 2 apiary, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but it's actually not that bad. I did look at this. So yeah, we didn't actually end up needing this. I didn't even notice the quest rewards. And I was thinking I was going to need a bunch of like honey blocks and stuff myself, but no. Okay. I guess I should have planned around the rewards there. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's pop over. And then we're going to go ahead and get ourselves like 20 iron ingots. And we'll go ahead and get 4 hoppers. And then, oh no, it's 1 hopper and 4 chests. Okay. Then we are going to need some honeycomb blocks. So I've got enough dusty mumbies to do that I've kind of been building up a little bit. Let's go ahead and get our apiary storage. Oh, and we get all of this too for making the apiary. What does the apiary breeder take? Tokens of joy. How many tokens of joy do I actually have? I have 1. That's something that actually would be pretty good to have. Tokens of joy. Just like that. Yeah, I might actually make that up here in just a little bit so we can do the apiary breeder. I don't have to have it right this second, but we will want it pretty quick. So let me figure out my blocks real quick, and then we're going to set up our very first apiary. Okay, so what we're going to do, let's come over here, and we're actually going to have this, what we need for the apiary is a 7x6x7. So we're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we can push it back, and that'll work good, because the front of these, I've got an idea. We'll go with that. This thing has not left my inventory like this whole time. Let me go ahead and build this out. It's actually, this back wall, it's going to mirror the wall behind it. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then this will come up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, this will be good. So I'm going to pull away this wall a bit. And then we'll do sandstone across the front here. And then the glass down through here. And this is going to be basically 4 high, and then there's going to be a ceiling. And we are going to have a door into this. We'll have the door be, say, right here. To enter into this. And then for right now, I'm going to pull this up. So we'll just do the hidden door, I think, and mark it with the creeper. I do believe. And then for the ceiling, we're just going to run this out with granite. So we'll do something like that up here, I think. And up here, we'll just do the pillars across. This won't really be visible, so it'll just kind of look like that. Okay, now let's go ahead and set up our apiary and our apiary storage. Our apiary storage, we should have 3 blocks between these. So our apiary storage is actually going to be setting back right here. And then we'll have the apiary be sitting right there. So it detected it if, for example, this block wasn't here. You can see it has this menu, so you can kind of offset where the apiary is located. But for us, we just want it right in the middle like that. It actually blends in with the wall so well. I love it. Okay, so now we can start filling this with some bees. Now, in order to get the Quartz Bay, I need the icy bees, right? Icy bees, they spawn in the world. Okay, I can find these, but it's more important that I just get the Quartz Bay up and going. So what flower does the Hellish Zombie want? Basically any kind of mushroom. So let's go ahead and get ourselves out a Hellish Zombie. Let's get our Icy Bee, because we're going to convert this one to a Quartz Bee for now, because I really just need the quartz combs. Like, that's the most important thing. We will be adding the rest of those bees in there, but right now it's the most important that we just get the Quartz Bee. We need the Quartz Bee. Alright, so we're just going to put, for right now, this is going to change, but we're going to put a purple shimmering mushroom right there. And then basically we're going to need to do entity mutation. So, as you probably know, whenever bees like pollinate flowers, they end up with a bunch of pollen kind of on their legs, and it falls off. You know, it can have different effects. Vanilla bees, bone meal crops. And we've had to do a lot, like in ATM Spellbound, doing the high tier bees and stuff like that. We had to do a lot of block mutation. Entity mutation is basically the exact same thing. Actually, we had to do it with some of the bees on there, I want to say, too. But it's basically the same basic premise. So whenever the bee flies over a specific entity, it's going to turn it into a new entity. And in this case, the Hellish Zombies can turn the Icy Bees into Quartz Bees. If you take a look at the Nether Quartz Bee spawn egg, you can see that Hellish Zombie flying over an Icy Bee is going to make us a Quartz Bee. So what we're going to do for this is we're going to set up... Do we want to do it here? No, I tell you what. Would actually probably be best to do it just right in front of the apiary. Because the bee pretty much has no choice but to fly over this point. So we're just going to do some trapdoors right here. The Icy Bee, can it get out of this? Or will I need to... I don't think it's going to be able to, because this is like a partial block, and I think these bees need like a full block space. So what we'll do is we'll just release our Hellish Zombie. He's going to go over to the mushroom. Yeah, he's getting stuck there. Just in case, I'll keep a jar on the ready. And now he's got pollen. Yeah, it might be too close here. Realistically, we could also probably just throw it down as the bee flies over, just wherever its path is. Or we could block the front of the apiary and chase it around. Oh, yeah, that would actually work. Doing this manual. I mean, we could leave this bee here. And then probably come back to another Quartz Bee pretty quickly. Now, what does the Hellish Bee produce? Produces gold and beeswax. Okay. I mean, the beeswax isn't bad, just for expanding. The Obsidian Bee... This one I can get flux dust coming in from that. So I'm definitely going to want to get the obsidian, because we can do 9 bees in the apiary. We're going to want the Quartz Bay, the Obsidian Bay, the Dusty Mum Bay. Probably go ahead and do the RGB, because I imagine that's going to be dyes. Not dyes, but it makes rainbow runes, and it makes bottles of enchanting, but then it also makes the rainbow honey bottles, which we can probably use these. No, I don't know if we can use them for dye. RGB honeycombs we can. But it does require one of the flower that would make the dye. So I actually like that a lot. But yeah, we'll do RGBs, Dusty Mumbies, Obsidian. I think we want the boobies for the gas tiers. What does brutish zombies make? And I don't know if they attack other bees. They make zombie hearts. Okay. I hear you over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to block off the apiary. Oh, my ICB actually managed to escape that. So I'm going to put him in there. At first it didn't seem like he was going to, but yeah, he does. Let's see. Sooty bees make coal and bitumen. I definitely want those in. And I'm also going to want glowstone bees. So we're up to, what's going to be 7. Oh, water bees make kelp and sea pickles. The frosty bee makes frost steel and blizz powder. Okay, and we got room for one more. This one does kelp. What about the forest bee? That's going to be a source of wood. Yeah, we'll do a forest bee. So we're going to be setting up these 8 bees as well as the quartz bee. Okay, and this one's just about to come out. You can see we do have some hellish zombies, honeycombs. Oh, and all the honeycombs are going to be different foods. It's going to be really, really good, actually. Okay, so he's come out. Let's go ahead and block this off now, because they do require access to their apiary, otherwise they can't get in. So then they'll just fly around with pollen indefinitely. But I want to see if his pollen gets through like trapdoors or, you know, kind of like partial blocks like that, out of curiosity. There we go. Just drop him underneath that, and we can get our quartz bay. Okay. That's probably the easiest method for it. And if, of course, if you're using a bee house, you can just drop it, drop the block in there, like in front of that as well. And then we're going to go ahead and lock this bee, because I don't really need gold right now. And at least my first apiary, I'd like it to be stuff that we would actually use. Though we will be setting up more apiaries very, very quickly in this pack. We'll be doing a bit with bees for sure. Well, probably not scaling out too fast because there's kind of a limit as to how much we can centrifuge until we set up... Oh, we can do this with sequence assembly. Yeah, that's actually not bad at all. And actually, redstone engineering blocks aren't that bad either. But, oh, we'll need Pneumaticraft before we can get the big centrifuge. But we can always make do. We'll need a little RF setup, but we can make do with this. Because we can actually make some steel right now, so that's not... This one isn't a big deal, but we'll probably move to that, and then we'll scale out bees a little bit. Okay, so for the quartz bay, I imagine it's just block of quartz. No, it is warped fungus. I know where some warped fungus is. We just got to fly over and grab it real quick. These are one of my favorite biomes, too. No crafting recipe for Wailing Bell Blossoms, but we'll definitely have to harvest up a bit of these. I don't know where I'll use them in our build, but I've got to use them somewhere. I love Wailing Bell Blossoms. And of course, we're definitely going to be on the lookout for certain bees, especially like Oreo bees are insanely powerful sources of food. You know, that's become my food on Spellbound, you know. But we'll go ahead and get a couple of these. And actually, I want to steal this bee nest. Alright, so we'll go ahead and put in our warped fungus right here. And then we're going to take and put in our quartz bay. There you go. And let me go ahead and export the Hellish Zombie for now. We'll use them. You know, I'd like to have all the bees, at least one copy of all the bees. But for right now, I don't really need the Hellish Zombie, you know, because I don't need the gold at all. Now, what's it take for the storage upgrades? Before we cut for a bit, I'm going to let these quartz honeycombs build up, and I'm going to get the other bees put in there. So we'll have kind of a filled out apiary. So let's go ahead. We'll get that. That. Yeah, and each tier of this is just basically just a lot of chests. So let's go ahead, get ourselves a lot of chests. And we'll get the Apiary Storage. And we'll go ahead and get the achievements while we're at it. There we go. Maximum comb storage. And what we'll do is, right here, we're going to put in that. And that way we've got plenty of room to store our combs in. Let's do this. We're going to get honeycombs, honey bottles, honeycomb blocks, scavenger's delight, carbuncle shards, and books. And then up here, we're going to get miner's delight and epic Oreo. Come back over here. We got a reinforced chest from Pneumaticraft. That's quite good. And then we're going to get 100 XP, 200 XP and some honey glazed ham, 200 XP and a scavenger's delight with glass. And then we're going to get a farmer's delight with Wakami Gunkan. So we've got 26 levels all of a sudden. Are you still in there? It looks like it. Yeah, but you're about to come out. And we'll get our very first quartz honeycombs. There we go. It's left. And then if we centrifuge these, we get nether quartz chunks and fluorite chunks. Alright, well that'll be good. Now, out of curiosity, like Obsidian Bay, what's the flower for Obsidian Bay? Chorus. Okay. So we'll have to fly out and find a chorus flower, but we do have the Silk Touch pick, so that's not a problem. What about Booby? Booby is a deployer. And then some of these are just going to be any flower, like Glowstone Bay is any kind of flower, for example. So, yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. I think the worst thing I'll have to do is go get Chorus, but it's going to be worth it because Obsidian Bay can make obsidian and it can make flux, so that's kind of a big deal. But one thing I am going to do is I'm going to be setting up some additional drawers between cuts over in here, and we're going to have like a bee storage area because this is already getting filled out. I'm definitely not going to have enough room for everything. So I'm thinking over there we're going to have like bee-related stuff in part of the room, and then I'm also probably going to be setting up some mod chests, just using the mod filter. I'm going to be making some of these and using it for stuff like create, all the little like odd and end create bits and bobs, and you know, things like that. Basically, I'm going to have it, our main line is on the neutral setting, so I'm going to do like a mod chest for a few different mods, basically on like the lower, where the trash cans is at, on the lower filter line. So, and we're going to be doing trash cans. Those are all going to be like very specifically filtered though. That's why they're on a higher priority than the overflow. So trash cans are going to be for things like cobble and stuff that we want to trash, because I think it's going to be more effective to do that than a void upgrade, because we can filter a lot more items and it's about the same price as to make a trash can as it is to make a void upgrade. So I think that's the route that I'm going to take. Of course, I could just use lava. That is an option, and just pump it into an open crate. Yeah, actually that might be what we do. That's a whole lot cheaper. And I think open crates are like default recipe, just living wood planks. So that's probably what I'm going to do, is have it just pumped into a trash, like a lava system. So open crate and then dump it in there and have it be on lower priority, I think. So, but yeah, I'm going to be setting up a few things like that. I'm still kind of working on storage and whatnot, so. These have been running, but I've got them taken out right now. Tyler was over here a bit earlier, and his Vex actually killed a bunch of my bees. So I'm not going to put them back in until I make sure I have breeding pairs for all of them. Plus, we don't have the centrifuges set up just yet. I was debating about doing that this episode, but I decided since we were in the middle of something last episode, we're going to go ahead and finish that up, and then we'll turn back over to the centrifuge fairly soon. But we do have the nether quartz honeycombs that we needed. Now, in addition, Sooty Bee, if it gets caught on fire, it turns into a blaze bee. So my Sooty Bee did get turned into a blaze bee. So just a heads up there. And I have been setting up breeding pairs for a lot of these. I also found, in the end, I found ender bees. And I also found that ender bees and obsidian bees both can actually spawn in the overworld too. When I was out collecting some bees, I did come across both of those. I also came across clogged bees. And as a newbie, I also came across Yeti bees as a newbie. So, but then I've just been trying to collect and make sure that we've got 2 of everything. These will just be purely for breeding purposes. So, and then of course we have our Blaze Bee and Quartz and Boo Bee and Frosty Bee, which the Frosty one can actually be bred. I wasn't able to find another one of those, so I'm just going to leave it as one, and then we'll breed for another one. Now, if we pop over, I have been doing a bit of organizing with, this is just all enchanted books, and I made kind of a master list with the maximum level of everything, and I've been laying that out so that we can shoot for just getting like max level enchants, 1 of each, and having those with our mana pylons, and then all will be good. And then I've gotten to where most everything is sorted. So this is all tools. So I've got high filter, highest priority, and filter increase modifiers. and just telling it to basically filter all of our different tools. So all of them are going to be in kind of a centralized location. Over here, we're using tag filters, basically allowing us to filter armor, weapons, and tools into these. And then if those fill up, of course, then I'll sort them after that. And then I've just been using a lot of well, that one's just filter, but mod filters, so that we can filter things like all the shrink glass bottles, stuff from like Architect's Palette and Chisel, stuff from the chipped mod, framed things from frame blocks and frame drawers, stuff that's kind of like tech related, magic related, and this is just stuff from Resourceful Bees, and I'm using like lower priorities so that they come here after they check drawers and things like that, you know. Over here we just have player heads that get sent over here. We have stuff from artifacts. We have music discs, in this case using a tag filter to do the music discs. And then over here we just have like rock crystals. And then I've set up this little area here for basically bee produce. This part isn't currently running right now because we don't have this area running. We'll set that up. You know, it's not extracting at the moment. We'll set that up whenever we set up the kind of the automatic centrifuging and stuff. And then this is just extra bays, and this is some stuff I prepped up for when we do the centrifuging, basically filters and things like that. So okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to take some blank slates and some glass, and we're going to go ahead and run this, and we're going to get slate vials. We'll get a couple crafts of these, a little bit more than what I need, but that's okay. And we're going to take these slate vials. I'm going to be making 6 of these, and we're going to make Fortuna extract. So we'll just throw that in and get that running. This, of course, just requires a tier 1 blood orb, so it's not too costly for us. But we're going to get Fortuna extract. Okay, so there's 6 of that. We'll just leave this here. And then we're going to go ahead and toss down 42 nether quartz honeycombs, 42 gold coins, and 6 Fortuna extract. And we're going to go ahead and just fireball this. There we go. And we're going to get ourselves a bunch of Devil's Ante. Okay, now let's pop out somewhere. I'm going to say we'll just go to the Undergarden to do this. I guess that'd be fine. Or let's just go out away from the base. I don't think there's anything destructive within this fight, especially through claims, but just to be on the safe side, because we're going to be killing some bosses. That's the reason that we got, the reason that we upped our armor and everything. We're going to be summoning Dame Fortuna, and we're going to be doing this a few times. There we go. And we're going to be playing, basically like dodge the attacks here a little bit. As you can see, very, very easy fight. Now, if you don't have a ranged weapon, this fight probably going to be a little bit tougher for you. But as you can see, doesn't do that much damage, and we can hit her from very, very far back. I'm not going to watch the sky. It doesn't matter how much damage we take, actually, because she's not doing anything. And this is one of the meet your fight bosses. This is actually the toughest one, but for us, not that difficult. And we're going to get Fortune's Favor. We also got Protection 3. Okay, now let's go ahead and kill her again. That attack does a little bit of damage, but still not a big deal for us. But I tell you what, actually, before we fight her again, let's pop over. We're going to go ahead and use the 2 Fortune Favors that we got. And we are going to be making the Ace of Iron. And we're also, I think I need 4 iron. Yeah, we're going to be making the Slicer's Dice. These 2 right here. This is a charm slot and a body slot, but it sometimes negates incoming attacks, and attacks sometimes do more damage. Which it is affected by luck, which we have constant effect luck too, from the our luck coin that we got from the trinkets. So let's go ahead, let's throw this on, because we should get pretty good shots at negating damage. And we should get pretty good shots at dealing more damage, which I'm assuming is going to work with our mage's spellbook. So we're going to go ahead and throw these on. There's some other really good stuff from Meet Your Fight, which we will get. But today we're going to be focusing on Dame Fortuna. Maybe next episode or something we'll throw in the other two. The other two fights. They're going to be excessively easy for us. But boom, boom, boom. I feel like... Let's see, do we feel like we're dealing more damage? That was a negate. Whenever it does that sound, that was a negate. That was a negate. So we'll get to see how often we're just fully negating attacks. And I think that sound, whenever it goes, I think that's the boosted damage. There we go. Man, is that like super proc on that extra damage? So nice. There we go. Not to mention we're getting a decent amount of XP too out of this. I'll tell you what, let's I want to try something. We'll get rid of the looting damage. We're just going to change this to big damage. I want to try something. So if we did a big Amplify 2 harm spell, how much... It takes a bit of mana, but as long as we line up our attacks right now, that'll be good. Let's try big damage, see how much damage we deal. And this is Amplified 2. Of course, later on we'll be able to do Amplified 3. It's a good amount of damage. We'll be able to make it a bit more with a wand, of course, and Amplify 3. That was really big damage. This is like 4 hits in. Ooh. Like 6 hits, I think, to kill her, which we can boost it more. But I think that's pretty good. It does mean I probably need to line up my shots a bit better using it, but we'll just stand still, wait for her to stand still. There we go. Boom. It's huge damage, really. It is. There we go. That one I think was, I want to say 5 hits, 5 or 6, something like that, but yeah, that's pretty good. And then once it's Amplified 3, and then of course long term we could always do it with the Blood Tome and not even have to worry about mana costs. Make it really, really big. And spammable, for that matter. But, alright, so we got our Fortune's Favor. We got a bunch of enchanted books. I don't think there's anything too crazy here, but, you know, we will put it to use. Let's go ahead and throw all this in there. And I don't need this explosion book anymore either. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take one of our Fortune's Favors, a couple of wheat. We're going to get some Velvet Fortune, which is a food that we can eat, which will count for our foods. And then we're going to make ourselves a tablet. Oh yeah, I need a cascading or a vexing archwood. We're going to go ahead and get ourselves a tablet of Summon Wilden. And then let's pop back out. We've got a Wilden Spike, Wilden Horn, Wilden Wing. Let's go find our... we'll use the same little arena area, I think. And we're going to go ahead and toss down our Ritual Brazier. We're going to put in our Summon Wilden tablet. And we're going to throw in Wilden Horn, Wilden Wing, Wilden Spike. And we're going to activate this. And it's going to summon us a boss. I don't know if we want to go with big damage. This boss usually moves pretty quick. But it is going to summon us a boss. And this boss is liable to do some decent damage, but he's about to move into the next phase. Yeah, you can see his health filling up, and he's going to get an attachment. This one is the Wilden Horn attachment. It looks like he does decent damage. No. He's raging right now. You can see he's summoning ads. You know, we can totally cheese this guy. And now he's going to kill all of his friends. He's breaking all the tree down. Now, the next phase, we're going to have to be a little bit more careful because he does fly in this phase. And he actually pulls us down during this phase too. There we go. We're going to have to use the zoom spell to get away from him. But we can actually keep him knocked back with our knockback. Oh, and now he's done falling in the water, so. I thought he had wings in this phase, or is it, does he have another phase? No, that's it. Now, where's his tribute? There it is. Wilden Tribute. I was thinking he got wings and did like the ground smash. Though it might be random. And then with all of this, we can make our Archmage spellbook. Our final upgrade to our spellbook. We are going to complete another quest. We're going to go ahead and turn in just a couple here. We do have... this one gives us the split glyph. So we'll go ahead and activate that. Take that off of our list. From this one, we're going to get a Jar of Voiding. From the Celestial Manipulation quest, we're going to get a rare book. Fertility and Growth, we're going to get a rare, or box, I mean not book. The Summon Wilden, we're going to get some Holy Hand Grenades of Antioch, which apparently do create thunder. And we're going to get, from the Tablet of Binding, we're going to get another box there as well. So we got a bit of clay and those Holy Hand Grenades. Okay, so now we have 1,840 mana, and you can see, I mean, regeneration is ridiculously fast at this point. Okay, now let's go ahead. We're going to make ourselves a basic spell turret. And then we're going to go ahead and turn this into an enchanted spell turret. Which basically means it's going to cost less source to do things than a normal spell turret or a redstone, or a timer spell turret, I mean. It doesn't take a whole lot of source to craft this. There we go. There is our enchanted spell turret. And looks like that does complete a quest, and we get an AoE glyph, which I think I've already got that. Alright, now at this point we're going to make ourselves some Mage Bloom fibers. Okay, so there's our Mage Bloom fibers, and then we're going to turn this into blank parchment. And then we can turn this into spell parchment, which is with source gems. So there we go. There is our spell parchment. Now we're going to complete a quest, and they're going to give us a scribe's table as a reward for that quest. And now at this point, I've got to get some items together. But the most important thing for us is the spell. The reason that we pushed on to tier 3. And the spell that we're going to be utilizing is Summon Decoy. Which I know sounds a bit odd, but let me go ahead and take that one off. But we're going to be using this spell to automate our lightning crafting. Now, unfortunately, this spell is not going to work out in our spell turret. We made this for something a little bit later on, which I don't think we'll get to this episode. But what we are going to be using for our spell casting is Runic Chalk. So let's go ahead and grab a little bit of that. And what it does, it makes a permanent, basically spell on the ground, right? What do we get? We got 4 Marvelous Clay. I will take it. Now, I've got to get a few things together, and I'm going to be setting this up probably right over here, mainly because I haven't ran my Corporea network super far, and we are going to need access to our Corporea system for this. So I think we'll be setting it up right here, and I'm going to be moving our source generation system with the carbuncle. I'm going to be moving that over near the pyramid. Because we are going to require some source for this system. So I'll probably be moving it over to here and building a little like deck area that kind of comes up and then has the carbuncle farming over here. But other than that, it's going to be set up the exact same. So let me get a few things together and let me get some stuff laid out, and I'll be back here in just a little bit. And for this system, we are going to be using some factory droppers for this, and they do require that we get treated wood. Now, we haven't pushed, it's not super far into progression, but we haven't pushed into treated wood just yet. So what we're going to do is we're just going to rob these immersive engineering villagers of their treated wood. Some will have more than this, but these, they have a little bit of treated wood, and that's plenty for my needs. Because I actually need one factory dropper to get started. Now, I am going to need additional ones. As I add additional recipes, and conduits will take 2. But today we're just going to be automating arcane stone. So just a little bit of treated wood should be fine, because that's something that we're going to be using consistently. And in order for us to get slates up and going, like really, for blood magic, we're going to need a lot of arcane stone coming in, so we're going to be keeping it stocked. And we're also going to be using an ender hopper, mainly because we want something that won't be burned up like a carbuncle from fire and stuff like that in the area. This is all within our wheelhouse at the moment. Infused sun metal, polished rose quartz, eyes of ender, abyssaline, some lead plates, infused sun metal. This, we're going to make it through this method right here, doing the lightning channeling. And if you're thinking there's a lightning spell within ours, there is, but it actually does not work with doing the lightning crafting. So, because I had thought a bit back about going with the lightning, but I had tested, it doesn't work, but that's fine. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to put down a Corporea crystal cube. Let me grab a Corporea spark, just so we can connect this up to the Corporea system, steadily spreading out our Corporea system. And we're going to put in arcane stone into this. So it's telling us we have 117 arcane stone at the moment. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have a comparator come out of this. And we're going to set this up. Let me grab an analog lever real quick. So the way the Corporea crystal cube reads things, the comparator coming out of it is 1 item is a power of 1, 2 items is a power of 2, 4 items is 3, and then it just it keeps doubling. So we're going to go 8, and I think the analog doesn't feed directly into the comparator. It does not. Okay, so we're going to have to use redstone here. Power of 8, that's going to be 2 stacks. It shuts this off. Do we want 2 stacks or do we want like 4 stacks? Let's tell it to make 4 stacks. And then we'll make it so all this stuff can kind of be hidden away on this side, but I still want it to be accessible, right? So this will just kind of be hidden away, but we'll make sure that we can access it. So let's just do this. We're going to have this feed into a redstone torch here. Oops. And then we're going to set up a couple of redstone torches. We're going to have one that basically toggles off when this gets redstone and one that toggles on when this gets redstone. Okay, so now what we're going to do, let's set up a little thing here. We're going to have a piston setting here. We're going to have our factory dropper setting here. And we're going to configure this. If you hover over these things and leave it for just a second, it's going to tell you what they do. What we're going to do, we're going to set this and tell it it's going to be dropping 6 clay. It's going to be dropping 1... no, we actually need 2 source gems. We're going to be doubling what it's dropping. And of course, you could automate this with like lightning arrows and crafting, which is fine. We're going to be doing it a little bit different because it's a little bit more fun, I think. But and this will actually be really efficient because we have no overhead other than just source. That's all it really takes. And then the items, of course, to craft it. But we're going to put a pipe in here connecting to the factory dropper. And we're going to put in a high retrieval node and a stack limiter module. And on this, we're going to say clay, source gems, appetite. And we're going to set this to, don't limit to 1 stack, and we're going to set it to keep like 24 on hand. And so that's going to keep 24 clay blocks, if we have them in the system, 24 clay blocks, 24 appetite, 24 source gems in this. And it's going to be automatically requesting from the rest of the system. And then we're going to go ahead and put in 6 clay, 2 source gems, 2 appetite. And we're going to tell it that, first up, it's going to be and. So it's only going to drop if it has all filters green. And if it has, like for example, if I put this in, you can say that it says we have enough clay, but we don't have enough source gems and appetite. They turn red. So it's only going to drop if it has these specified items in here. And it's going to drop exactly 6, 2, and 2. And then we're going to come over and we're going to say drop only on an external signal. So we're going to leave that as and then we're going to say continuous. Drop as long as the external signal is on. Then we're going to turn the delay up to 10. And then the stack size, it doesn't matter. It's going to drop exactly what we have specified in here. And we're going to leave the drop angle and all that the same, just default. All right, so now if we pop down to here and we run this across, it'll be able to start requesting the items that it needs. And you can actually see the items kind of coming down the line. Now, these are a little bit slow right now without pipe pressurizers and because we don't have speed upgrades on all the drawers. Now, long term, we will have a speed upgrade on the drawer controller. So it won't long term, it won't be super slow like this. But in the short term, it'll be a little bit slow to request the items. But it's not really a big deal for us. All right, so then we're going to take and we're going to put a redstone link just on the side of this. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put down a block here. And we're going to go ahead and hit this with some Runic Chalk. That's going to put down a rune. And then we're going to make a spell that's touch and then summon decoy. Because with a rune, you kind of want it to be a touch spell. And we're going to put down our spell parchment and then shift right click that. It's going to say set spell. And then let's grab our spell parchment. And we're going to go ahead and just right click that. It's going to say spell set. And this is reusable. And now if we were to step on that, it summons a decoy of us. Which, you know, we use these in Spellbound a lot. Mobs are going to be attracted to them. They're going to attack them on sight and so on. So, and then our other redstone link, let's go ahead and put this right here. This is going to be attached to the piston. And then let's go ahead and set ourselves up a drawer right here. We're going to lock this one in. And we're going to give it Arcane Stone. And I will have to make a couple pipe upgrades for this. Basically, I'm going to go ahead and connect that. We're going to have an extract and a speed increase on this. So it'll be able to basically take the Arcane Stone, just send it over to the main system. And then we'll have space for the other 3 items. And then we'll put the Ender Hopper there on top. And then we're going to take and put our hovering hourglass on top of the piston. We'll come back to that. It's basically going to have 1 sand. And this is basically just for pushing our decoys forward because we don't want them basically just hanging out on top of this block because if they do, they will continue to spawn more decoys. So we want to shove them off, basically. All right, and then I'm just going to go ahead and build this out a little bit. So we have something kind of like this. We kind of have like this little funnel area. And then up here, let's go ahead and just kind of block this off a little bit. Something like that. And we're going to have some gold bars here. We're going to have some gold bars here. Now let's come out just a little ways. We're going to use some nocturnal powder. And we're specifically going to be looking for blitzes. Okay, right there. We're going to capture that in our soul gem. Then let's head on back. And right here, we're going to go ahead and dig this up. Just open this up to the sky. We'll clean it up a little bit later. And we're going to be name tagging some blitzes. So we'll name one Blitzen. And we'll go ahead, pop out of there real quick. Now, ideally, we'd like to have more than one of these. There we go. We're going to be using mobs for a little automation. It's going to be fun. It's going to be quite fun. This one we'll name Blatzen. We'll have Blitzen and Blatzen. There we go. Blitzen and Blatzen. Alright, let me get out of there. Because they like to attack. Alright, now at this point, what we can do... Okay, let's go ahead and put our sand in. And that's going to basically just activate the piston over and over again. And we're going to set up a redstone link. The first one that we're going to set up is going to be red gold. And we're going to put this into the piston, redstone gold. And we're going to right click this so that it is a receiver. And then on this one, we're going to have gold redstone. Just reverse it. And we're going to set this so that it's a receiver. Now we are going to have to feed clay into this. We'll make it a little bit easier here soon. But let's go ahead and do that. And what we're going to say is... I was afraid of that. Okay. Let me actually break that. There we go. That should have done it. Yeah, there's 9 arcane stone. One thing I need to do real quick. It did work. It made the 9 arcane stone, but we need to make that a little bit cleaner. Originally in my head, I had them dropping down an extra block. But then when I set it up, I didn't do that. So we'll drop the floor down, actually a slab. And that should be sufficient to keep them from jumping out, because that's what's happening is they're jumping out, and they're kind of messing up the whole process. And I've noticed that when they move around a lot, it also causes some issues with getting the lightning to trigger. Because you'll notice it's not a 100% chance that you're going to get the lightning, but you do have a pretty good chance of it. And ideally we would have about 3 blitzes in there. So, you know, I'll try to get another one. But let me get some more clay, because I am running low. Which the clay bee is very, very cheap. So we're probably going to be going with a clay bee here pretty soon. But if we throw this in now, and let me go put the sand back in. Okay, so it did just send them over. And you can see them getting dropped in. Now if we give them just a second. There we go. And then it should have crafted the arcane stone and automatically picked it up for us. But you can see we have 33 arcane stone. So then all we got to do is throw in high extraction and speed. I should have thrown in speed first. It would have made it a little bit faster. But that then is going to pull that out. And it's going to get sent over to this. We've got 116 in there. So we should have 140 here in a moment. So until we get our bees set up, which will be pretty soon, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to grab a bunch of clay. So if we take a look, we have 149 arcane stone. And just to go ahead and speed this up a little bit while we're getting this system basically primed and ready to go. We could adjust this so it drops just a little bit faster if it has the materials. So we could set it to, say, 5 seconds. And I do have to test it to see if we can do multiple recipes at once, you know? So if we could be crafting conduits at the same time we're crafting firmament. You know, that I'm not 100% sure about, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. There we go. That actually clears it out pretty quick, too. But, of course, we're going with this system instead of, like, arrows, just because it's a little bit more fun. Honestly, I like fun setups that are a little bit different. And this one is a little bit different, to say the least. So I may turn this up and say keep 64 in there, and that way it can request a little bit more clay, and it can do a bit more crafting at a time. Or if you're really worried about efficiency, a single arrow will do it. And of course, farming blitzes, it's no big deal, but our blitzes can also power our item crafting. And it should have just crafted up the last, there we go. You can see everything powers off. And actually, let's go ahead and put in a adjustable repeater right here, and let's set this to like 8 seconds, and that way the shutdown is a little bit smoother, because when it shuts down immediately, the piston stops and then the entities kind of pile up on that, and we don't want that. So instead we'll have it run for an extra 8 seconds just to clear off any entities that are on there, and then it'll power off. So actually we could probably do it with 5 seconds. I'll have to keep an eye on it, but I think that should be sufficient. But we do have 277 arcane stone in the system, and it has now shut off, which is what we want to see. So as long as we basically have the clay in there, this is going to upkeep 4 stacks of arcane stone for us at all times. And it does so using pretty much nothing but source and then the input items. So we can use our blitzes to our advantage. And the nice thing about blitzes is you'll notice that they don't actually suffer really from entity cramming. They actually kind of hang out in their own spot. They don't really move. They stay on those 2 spots pretty much all the time. So if we had another one in the middle, it wouldn't really cause any lag, really, because they're not trying to cram into a small space. And also, long term, we will be switching the entire piston system and the piston redstone and all that stuff just over to a single vector plate. It's just vector plates are a little bit past where I'm at on progression, so we're going to be using the piston until we get the vector plates. Vector plates are a little bit cleaner, a little bit easier, but for now, this will work for us. So with that, we're going to end out this episode here. I will be doing a little bit of cleanup on this, but like I said, I just kind of want to go with something a little bit different, something a little bit more fun to set up than just a dispenser shooting out arrows, or a dispenser throwing out lightning charges, you know, something like that. So next episode, we're actually going to start probably making use of some of our arcane stone, as well as doing some other kind of like small automation setups that are going to help us out. So Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys then.